Matthews.
My name is Kellen Bell.
My name is CJ Brock.
My name is Jaden Ridgway, and this is my Black Experience. I would, yes, primarily because when I look in the mirror every day, it's one of the first things I see. It's the black skin that I have. It's not, the clothes that I'm wearing. Probably it's going to be the skin that I have, and I have to be comfortable in the skin that I have because it's not going to change. So I would say it's a really big part of my identity.
Of course, it doesn't make me, but it definitely does make the places that I put myself and the places that I gravitate towards. Such as friend groups, those are things that have been affected by my race. I don't think that somebody would look at what I do in my everyday life and say that, I am black, right? Just coming off of, black stereotypes. Personally, I'd say being black hasn't really affected the person that I am too much. It's definitely made an impact in me that has changed the way that, I look around at the world and all types of stuff like that.
I think it's a pretty important aspect of my life. I'm getting to that age where, I'm applying for jobs and stuff like that, and I've always been taught, all that stuff does matter. How you present yourself, what you look like. It's definitely a big part of my life.
I feel like it's a pretty big part of my identity because, especially my dad and my grandfather, they're, super big on, being your best black self. And, I just feel like it is a pretty big part of my identity. And, being black is just a big part of who I am.
I wouldn't say it really meshes well, per se, because it's a privately white institution. It's not really designed for people of color, if that makes sense. But me, I just kind of roll with the punches, you could say. I guess I'm going to do what I feel like is best for me. I'm not really going to change who I am for anybody.
There's a lot of racial ignorance, but I feel like when you speak about it, it starts to disappear because a lot of times some people just don't know. And when you don't say anything, they continue to not know and carry on that ignorance.
When I'm around black people, people of my own race, I can kind of just freely be who I am and who I've grown up to become and who I've grown up around. However, once I come into, a white space, I kind of have to dumb down my personality a little bit, kind of dumb down a little bit of who I am just so that I'm not, targeted or looked at as, really kind of like a sore eye. Being in a white environment, I've definitely had to adapt. I didn't really grow up into it too much. So black people will usually sit next to each other. White people will usually sit next to each other. And I know that, people will walk into the cafeteria, see us. It looks segregated, it looks kind of bad. I know to, just the naked eye, but it looks really good to me because it shows that, we have a community of black people who are comfortable, who are able to find comfort within St. Paul's.
Like the phrase says, you just feel more in your skin. I probably only say certain words around my black counterparts or my black friends in situations like that. I don't withhold how I feel about certain topics like BLM because I know maybe even if you don't agree at the end of the day, you're still black, so you still have that experience of being black that I do as well.
I feel like since I've been here, I've been going here for so long, the black people that have attended and are attending are expected to play sports, right? Specifically football and basketball. Almost like you're an object, you know what I'm saying? No matter if they know you're good or not, they'll just assume based on your skin color, and it's just makes you think, is that all I'm here for?
when I had first came here for Christmas, I had gotten like a smartwatch, but it wasn't like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit. It was like kind of like an off-brand one. People had made fun of me because I didn't have an Apple Watch or because it wasn't, I guess, expensive enough in that way. Where I remember I would wear it at my old school and be like, oh, that's nice, it looks cool, that type of stuff. So in that situation, I really felt like an outcast.
I feel like there are obviously some people out there who have negative attitudes towards black people. Like when we had that like anonymous messaging system thing going on, it was up for like 5 seconds, but you could already see like people just being hateful for no reason on there. So at times like that, I'm like, it kind of makes me think less of the St. Paul's community, but I kind of have to just push past those sides because I know there's definitely a minority of people who think that way, and vast majority of people here are always just trying to be themselves 100% of the time. Like me, after the Honor Council election, my assumptions changed because if there are really a bunch of people out there who are like, oh, he's black, I'm not going to vote for him, I wouldn't be on the Honor Council. So that just really just changed my opinion. Like maybe people actually do disrespect me and just look at me as just a person they can trust in a leadership position and not just a black person.
Yeah, I see myself as like a teacher outside of these walls. Like some other people aren't going to take it as nicely as I will. Could lead to some violent, to be truthful. If I can teach about what should be said and what shouldn't be said, I'm gonna teach that, and the cycle will break. I wouldn't say I enjoy it. I'd rather not, but like it's something that is needed, or else it's not going to be corrected by anyone else.
The administration can do a lot better job at educating people on the issues rather than just showing hard discipline and giving them, kind of a fear to say these things. So I don't think people have, also got the education to be able to not make those same issues that they keep making, issues which are, just inductive of ignorance. I think that the administration is becoming better, but right now, at this point, it's, kind of just beating a dead horse, right? Somebody says something bad, okay, you're out of here for a little bit, and now you come back. I think in order to, really make it effective, people need to be educated rather than just disciplined. So
we were talking about like the city, and someone had told me to go back to my crack house in Baltimore, and yeah, it was a interesting thing that they had to say, and it was like one of those things where it's like I don't even live in the city, I live in Dundalk, but it was kind of like, oh, you're black, so you live in the urban area. And I didn't correct them on it. I kind of laughed it off and kept it pushing because, like I said, like I was thought to believe that it's okay for when those type of things happen because you don't want to disagree with people, but you kind of have to have those disagreements to teach them that like it's not okay to say things like that.
I mean, I definitely think some sort of action should be taken, but if the kid isn't willing to learn from the mistake, then like what are we doing? They have to be willing to learn and like know that what they did was wrong. I feel like most of the time now it's just kind of like you're suspended or expelled or something like that. But is that really teaching them why it was wrong? I don't know.
I actually think things are getting better, and I think that things are going to continue getting better because like we have things like KVD. During Black History Month, we have a lot of talks about like the black experience and things like that. Like I learned some things. Intersectionality, I never even heard of that, but I was actually really informed about that during some of the Black History Month speeches. So if we continue doing things like that, I feel like even for non-black students, everyone's gonna, I feel like they're gonna become like more inclusive, and like I said, they're gonna be more informed, which is gonna lead to them becoming more inclusive and like more accepting of other viewpoints.
I think that we're going in a great direction. Additions like Mr. Williams, one of the biggest leaders, one of the biggest, forces at the forefront of, making St. Paul's an inclusive place, making it a, way better place for black people. I think having white people or, white teachers be the ones to lead all the inclusion isn't a very good idea, because these aren't the people who have to deal with inclusivity issues. These aren't the people who grew up, having to deal with that.
If you look at our class, a lot more African Americans or POCs attending here. In that instance, like, diversity will continue to keep going up and those type of things. I also feel like we have been pushing towards more progress. I think we will see some change. It's not making it just one day, but trying to create a year-round thing so people are always conscious and aware of it. And it's not just, oh, let me think about this for one day and then doesn't really matter to the next time around in the next year. And I feel like those are the things that help create change, continuous and being conscious about the things that are wrong. Yeah.
What I see is like the attempt to make change, but it's really like an old car with like a new paint job, you know what I'm saying? It's still the same under all that flash, in my opinion. So, yeah. That's what I would say.
Always be, ready to listen, ready to hear out any black student, any, Asian student, any Hispanic student, just on anything that they have to talk about, anything that they feel uncomfortable about. Just know that for a student to do such a thing is them showing comfortability within the area that they're in, and that is very powerful and should not be taken for granted by the administration. If you are walked up to and you're given that opportunity to make a change or listen to a student voice their opinion on what should be changed, then don't take it for granted, because no matter what, these are genuine feelings and these are genuine things that people cannot just delete out of their memories.
It's cheesy, but just be yourself. Honestly, like, for me personally, I tried to be more white in a sense when I was younger. I tried to play lacrosse and those type of things. I tried to cover up my accent a lot more, like with the code switching thing. But honestly, if you just be yourself, eventually people will come to accept that that is you and you are you, and they're not going to be able to change that in any type of way. So just more or less being confident in yourself, being confident in your identity, your culture, your heritage, your race, your skin color, all that type of stuff.
I feel like we need good people and good human beings, no matter what race or ethnicity. As long as you're a good human, good person, nothing else should really matter.